dead woman walking, which puts us in exactly the same boat.
Hey everyone, let's go back to the main show of The Walking Dead, Season 6, and check out one of the characters, Paula. She was a mid-level savior, I guess you could say. It was Season 6, Episode 13 that Paula was introduced, and by the end of the episode, exited the show. But I think she left a lasting impression. Let's check out her character. She was in this episode and mirrored Carol in a lot of ways. So let's look a little closer at Paula and her story. But first, let's back up. We got to back up to begin this story.
Your people ambushed my people on the road.
With this scene right here. We hadn't been introduced to Negan yet. The people that Daryl met in the woods, Dwight and Sherry, of course, they were connected to the Saviors, and we didn't really learn a lot about Negan, but we were finding out about this group that Dwight and Sherry belonged to, had run away from. This motorcycle group belonged to them, and of course the satellite compound that Rick had went in and killed everybody.
So now we know what happened to T's group.
And they were even talked about in the episode. But then Maggie and Carol, of course, get captured by this lady, Paula. She's a savior, part of the satellite compound.
Probably put on a big show.
Okay.
But let's look closer at the character Paula, how her story unfolded, what it revealed about the world of The Walking Dead, the saviors, that the impending group that were about to come in and really change Rick and his group's world, how it impacted everybody. So to understand Paula, we need to understand those things that have led up to her episode. That was pretty much all of Season 6 with Rick's group making that cold-blooded decision to strike first against the Saviors. Their intel was minimal, right? And they just didn't know. They just didn't know what Jesus was telling them was just a small portion of the bigger picture, but they trusted him, and Rick convinces the group to wipe out the entire satellite outpost in their sleep. This moment, Rick's team becomes the aggressors. One thing that this character, Michelle, said in the episode was,
You're not the good guys.
and that's something to really think about. You know, Negan was the oppressor, and really Rick's group was just defending themselves. And you could say Rick's group was the better group, but who's really the good guy? And how do the soldiers think on each side? Obviously, the saviors thought they were the good guys.
You're wondering if there's a way out of this. There isn't.
But I'm thinking our guys did too. It really just comes down to survival, right? But Rick's group decided to take out the saviors, become the aggressors. They set off a chain reaction that redefined the moral boundaries of the show and the people in the show, the characters. You know, this whole episode was about that, how Paula, the route she took versus Carol, but Carol was still a Rambo, but she didn't want to kill anymore. She was going down that path. And who can blame her, really? I'm sure killing people ain't easy just for everybody, right? So the saviors at the satellite compound, they once were the threat, but now they're being victimized, and Paula's caught in that crossfire. The episode's called The Same Boat. So Paula's introduced in episode 13. She's not a brute like Negan or a psychopath like Alpha. She's just a survivor. She's complex, but she's really just a survivor, a soldier, if you want to call her that. We learned that Paula used to be a secretary in DC. She killed her boss to survive. She adapted. She hardened over time. And that sounds very familiar. It mirrors somewhat Carol's transformation from abuse victim to a ruthless survivor as well. It's almost like Carol's reflection. And it was written that way, but I thought it was a really good episode. And I like the character Paula. This whole episode, how it played out, and that she was Carol's reflection. Both women endured trauma, both killed to protect themselves, both evolved from helpless to hardened. So I like those stories. But Carol seemed to retain a little bit of her humanity, her empathy, internal conflict, but Paula seemed to already be at the point of embracing the cruelty as a necessary thing, a necessary cost. Paula wasn't born a villain. She was made by the same cruel, brutal world that our heroes were made. And as far as her character, I think the part about her was she wasn't necessarily evil, she was logical. But again, this is a favorite episode of mine. It plays out like a pressure cooker a little bit. Carol pretends to be meek, faking religious anxiety and fear. And she's studying, though, Paula and the group the whole time. Like, it's Carol. She's really using all of this. Maggie might have got confused a little bit, like, what's up, Carol? What game are you playing? What are you doing? Are you really in agony? Or are you putting on? What's up? And even with Maggie, she's fierce, she's confident, she's tired of being underestimated. She's pregnant, so that comes out into the open as well.
Children are our future, making bite-sized snacks for the dead.
But there is a cool dynamic between Paula and Carol as they're talking. Like, Paula sees Carol as what she used to be, and Paula is what Carol could have become if she gave up her soul, is kind of what the episode was saying. So I thought that was cool. And kind of on a side note real quick, The Walking Dead does like to reuse stuff, copy stuff they've already used before and use it again, rewrite it a different way. And this may not be it exactly, but Paula mirroring Carol is a little bit of a what if. What if Carol lost her morals? She would become someone like Paula, who is a member of the Saviors, who doesn't care anymore. And they did that again when Michonne had her hallucinations. She went on that little side trip of, what if I had made different decisions and became a Savior, and was at the lineup with Lucille, and even to the point where Daryl and Rick catches her and shoots her. So that was a really crazy hallucination, but another what if you make the wrong decisions, if you quit having empathy and become something in a bad group like the Saviors, just a few crazy bad choices could take you down a darker path. But with Michelle saying you're not the good guys, I think this is kind of, if you want to call it, the heart of the episode. You've got these two teams, two people, Maggie Carroll versus Paula and Michelle and the others, the Saviors. Who's the good guy? Who's in the right here? Who's in the wrong? What's happening? And they do figure out, like I say, they have a little talk and it's like, oh, so it was T's group, ambushed some of Rick's people on the road, got blown up. Carol does explain the reason why. Paula does admit, okay, you were on the defense, but you blew up our people on the highway. Why didn't you stop there? Why did you come into the satellite facility and murder all of our people? So in that moment, Carol does look like the bad guy. Paula does see her as a monster. Their whole group, Rick's group, monsters. And I think that Carol sees it too, right? Carol, that's one of the moments she was already heading down that path that she doesn't want to kill or try not to. But that definitely is a moment where she also was thinking, maybe you're right, you're monsters, but I think we're monsters also. But of course, eventually the tables turn. Carol drops the act. The brutal takedown begins. Maggie and Carol escape. They kill their captors. Paula refuses to surrender, of course. She charges. Carol impales her and then sicks a walker on her. It's pretty vicious and it's kind of personal there because she did say, just leave, just turn around and run. But of course, Paula didn't and had to be taken out. Maggie, she definitely wanted to take all of them out. She was a little bloodthirsty, it seemed like, there for a little while. Just like Rick said, we got to take them all out. We got to finish this. Little did they know the bigger picture. That's only one of many compounds of Negan's, and Negan's not even there when they shoot that one guy when he said, I'm Negan. And Rick says, I hate it comes to this, and he shoots him at the very end. And Carol, of course, that seals the deal as far as we are the devils. They may be devils, but we're just as much devils, so what the hell? And Paula even says something like, you kill, and it gets easier. But with Carol, it was getting harder to save her friends, save herself, save her community, keep fighting, keep killing. And that was a turning point for Carol, I think, for sure. She began to crack even more. The persona she had used for survival, a weaponized version of herself, was eating her alive. So, even back at the prison when she had to kill Karen and David, I think it was the two that she burned up to try to stop the virus from getting around the prison. that bothered her. That bothered her as well, but she kept going. But then, of course, going forward, where did all of this lead? It led to Negan's lineup, the deaths of Abraham and Glenn, and a whole new era of The Walking Dead brutally began, right? So the character Paula, she was a pretty cool character, I thought. She was just in one episode, but I thought she left an impression. She wasn't just a savior, she was a survivor, a mirror of Carol in a sort. And even if you wanted to step back several steps and just look at the fandom and Walking Dead and how Negan affected the fandom and Glenn's death, Abraham's death, all of the stuff that happened right at the beginning of, say, season 7. So season 6, episode 13, that was a big turning point for the show, for the fan base. This was leading to the introduction of Negan, the killing of Glenn. A lot of things were going to change, not just for the characters, but for the fans even, right? But hey, you guys let me know what you thought about this episode, what you thought about the character Paula and everything about Carol and how things changed and just, the whole big picture. Let's keep the discussion going down in the comments below, and I'll join you there. This is James, and as always, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more dead stuff.